Hello there, and welcome to A Film a Day with me, Jordan Woodley. And today I delve into another biopic with a very small film that I was aware of, but slipped me by at the time, and frankly I now regret it having finally gotten around to see it. That is, Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool. There's a funny thing, I suppose, about going into a film with little pre-existing knowledge of it. I knew it was a film about an aging actress towards the end of her life who has a relationship with a younger man, where she's a big Hollywood star and he's just like a local British young guy. And of course, the allusions to films like A Star Is Born, where he's up in his career and she's coming to the end of hers. Sunset Boulevard with the older woman and the younger man, and the sort of the actress trying to cling on to the her public image, and those sorts of that sort of style. I was aware going in that's what it would be. What I didn't know, and I feel a little embarrassed, is the fact that it is actually a biopic. It's about the last days of the life of Gloria Graham. Sorry, Gloria Graham, the Academy Award-winning, classic Hollywood actress, and her relationship with Pete Turner, who then wrote the memoir Film Stars Don't Die in Hollywood, which the film is based on. But it's also, there's something about it where sort of life is stranger than fiction, where factually she did spend her life, she was in a relationship with him for some time towards the end of her life, but then spent her last days in Liverpool with him before dying, going back to New York where she died. And the fact that, like I say, there's the Sunset Boulevard aspect of it, and yet this is reality. There's something, like I say, something quite magical about it, sort of magical realist, a sense of two worlds that you would absolutely think don't overlap. This sort of glitzy Hollywood, proper, classic, magical presence put alongside a very earthy British backdrop and sensibility, and even though Peter Turner is an actor and went on to have a small career in stage and film and television, he is, as portrayed by Jamie Bell, a very relatable, he's the kind of actor who you would recognise from the kind of person you'd recognise from sort of the everyday, the normal, the mundane. And there is the great sort of sense of question of, he's a much, much younger man. He is the same age, thereabouts, of her youngest son. And the film opens with her finally going back to Liverpool for the final time and getting in contact with him, and him slowly becoming aware that she's very sick. And then it flashes back to when he first met her, a couple years before, and of course those two timelines essentially chart their love affair in the past, whilst in the present, him taking care of her, and of course him having to sort of manage his family, and the fact that she's incredibly ill and yet refuses to see doctors, and won't, and he only slowly discovers how sick she actually is over the course of the present timeline. And the core of it is their relationship. You've got Annette Bening, who plays Gloria Graham, and there's something about the Judy of it, as in the Reese, who is it? Judy from the film Judy. Renee Zellweger. There's the sort of Renee Zellweger of it, And she has, she really does, Annette Bening, capture that sense of a person who was built from the Hollywood machine and is still, despite the fact that, she is an older actress and she is very unwell, the fact that she's trying to maintain this illusion and maintain the sort of, the image of glamour and beauty. And her and Jamie Bell genuinely have such strong chemistry that you believe. Well, I say you believe that they love each other. That the film poses that question of, is their love affair based on the fact that she is this, glamorous idol that he is drawn towards, and he's sort of overwhelmed by her presence, and is she drawn to the fact that he's young and and has this ambition to be an actor, and she sees something within his youth that revitalizes her, and they almost symbiotically sort of live off each other in that respect? Or is it genuinely that they love each other and there's a genuine connection between them? And it is a question that is often posed in these sorts of Hollywood-style stories. It's the Notting Hill of it. And it makes me think back to, that question in Bill Murray's character in Lost in Translation. And the thing that frustrated me, which is when you have a person who is, is this huge star, and they live this world outside of what we know, and that can be quite isolating, whereas at the same time they are still a human being who feels everything that we feel normally in every day, but they're obviously put under this different lens. And so when it comes to Annette Bening and her feelings toward Jamie Bell, it becomes a question of, does she genuinely love him? Does she feel those things? And it's just the world around her that would put it into the perspective of, oh, older woman, younger man, we can see what this is. And it really does frame that question and frame the question of, is she simply someone who does not accept that she's getting older? And there's a point in which the film says where she says, oh, I want to play Juliet for the Royal Shakespeare Company, and Jamie Bell, Pete, says, oh, do you mean the nurse? And of course she gets quite upset by that prospect, but because she sees herself as people see her, as young and glamorous, not as someone who is older and fading. It's interesting in that respect because having now seen American Psycho, and the idea that, the horror idea that American Psycho at one point was the 20th century's image, or what it became by the time of the 90s, the image of, the American dream realised, and what the success of the American dream becomes, or films like a film like Molly's Game, where you see all these people who are incredibly successful and yet deeply unhappy, and they have to live off the thrill of gambling. And if you put a character like Gloria Graham alongside that, the Marilyn Monroe type, the Audrey Hepburn, movie star, glamorous, beautiful, powerful, enchanting, and the idea that perhaps that's the female vision of the American dream from the 2000s, or the 20th century. The idea that, this was the image that everybody wanted to get to, in the same way that the American Psycho vision of wealth and power is what all men wanted, and yet when you get there and achieve it, it's incredibly isolating and self-destructive and unhappy. And again, that sort of poses that question of is this all? Is this it? Once you achieve this, is this all you get in the end? And of course, the two contrasting backdrops, when you have Gloria in Liverpool, and the fact that she wildly stands out and is out of place, and she's too big for the spaces around her, because it feels like you have a big movie star in a very small, almost like the film itself is like, it's like you have this big Hollywood star in a small independent British film, and the fact that she stands out in that respect. And conversely, when Peter goes to LA, it feels almost like you have this guy who is trying to stretch himself and become the LA image, and the ways that they both have to contort in these two contrasting settings in the different parts of the film, when in fact it becomes the question of, are they compatible? And it's not just, are they compatible as people, because as I say, their love seems genuine. It genuinely seems like they both have such, they are ensconced in each other. But it poses a question, are their worlds compatible? Can one live inside the other's world, or is the challenge that they both can't fit? I do think this is a really powerful film. Bringing up Judy, and the fact that I liked Judy, but I do think this is a better film, and I think it's a better, stronger narrative in respect of posing that question about what happened when you have these big Hollywood stars coming to the end of their time. And it brings in the question of, is this the image of the death of the Hollywood idol of that era? Is this what it looks like? Not just as a person, but as an ideology. Is this the representation of the death of classic Hollywood? And I think it does it much better here. And like I say, the chemistry between the two is just so strong. It's unfortunate that they were both nominated for BAFTAs for Best Actor and Actress and didn't win, but I do think this film deserves acknowledgement and recognition, and I think it is a really, really good film. Anyway, thank you for joining me. If you like this video, hit the like button, comment below, and share the video, because this will help me in the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell to get notifications of when new videos are uploaded. Check out my back catalogue of 150 videos plus. And follow me on Twitter at Jordan_Woodley, where I'm always tweeting about films and TV shows, and I share these videos once they're uploaded to YouTube, either the day of or the day after. Thank you for joining me. Take care.